We know that after every major incident, like, for instance, thinking about 52 years ago, or 53 years ago almost, the failure to prepare for the surprise attack that became the Yom Kippur War led to a major state inquiry. After the Lebanon War, Sabra and Shatila, another massive state inquiry. I actually had the opportunity to ask Knesset Speaker Amir Ohana a few weeks ago, face to face, and I said to him, just explain to us, because it looks really bad. Just explain to us why you are so reticent to have an official state inquiry. And he said, well, do you even know who appoints the members of that committee? And I said, well, I'm pretty sure it's the Supreme Court justices who appoint the members. He goes, yes, absolutely. And frankly, we don't trust them because we think that they are going to act politically and not with the best interests of the state. And I said, well, first of all, thank you for your honesty and being upfront about it, at the very least. But that's sort of an absurd thing to say, is that we're refusing to let this inquiry happen because we don't trust the members of the Supreme Court. Yeah. Not of, and they're fairly religiously and politically diverse, right?
Yeah. And I think obviously it shows that, it's very characteristic of this government that since October 7th, they have done anything but take responsibility for the failure and just blaming the whole world other than themselves. So I think that's, goes along the same lines. I do want to say that, as you said, that, our government is following the autocrat's playbook, right? Very clearly, all the stages. And sort of the last stage, that's what Professor Kim Lane-Shepeli, who researches sort of authoritarianism, said the last step before turning into a completely authoritarian regime is actually abolishing elections, right? And we're going to have actually elections in both countries this year, the American midterms and our elections, which are scheduled for the end of October. And we are now following very carefully, because one of our concerns is to make sure that the elections are going to be free and fair. I have to say that we didn't used to have issues of suppression of voting in Israel, in contrast to the states, but it seems that these elections are going to be different. We're sure they're going to be brutal, going to be a lot of incitement, a lot of use of different tactics to actually prevent especially opposition voters from going to the ballots. And so we are following this very closely, and that's a very critical step in, looking forward to the future of the State of Israel. I do believe that, what the government has done is reversible, and we have to make sure that we will be able to reverse and actually, bring Israel back to its course, to being a Jewish and democratic country that truly believes in equality and dignity for all people who were created in the image of God. The Pluralist Podcast from both sides of the ocean. I'm Orly Erez-Likhovski, Director of the Israel Religious Action Center, and I'm joined by Rabbi Josh Weinberg, Vice President for Israel and Reform Zionism at the Union for Reform Judaism, and Director of ARTSA. Together we engage thinkers, leaders, educators, activists, and community builders who aren't afraid to wrestle with the tough questions shaping Israeli society, Zionism, politics, and the unfolding events redefining our moment.
Through this podcast, we're deepening the conversations that shape our shared future, what Israelis and diaspora Jews can learn from one another, and what we should rightfully expect of each other. So if these conversations matter to you, subscribing really matters to us. It's how this podcast grows and reaches more people.
Please subscribe to the Pluralist Podcast on your YouTube page or wherever you're listening to podcasts.